Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the Welding Project. As you can hear, we've got the fuzzy dog back down here. And as you also hear, she barks in the beginning of every video. Ha! So let's get to it. As you know, we've been working on getting this Camino rear frame all straightened around. And that project has been completed. As you'll see here, here's the driver's side. And there's the bumper loosely hanging out. Here's the passenger side. The aftermarket part for the passenger side didn't fit nearly as nice as the driver's side did, but it's still welded up just fine, and everything is lined up as far as where the frame tails come out and all that good stuff. So those are done. I did kind of clean it up under here a little bit as well. New body mounts in the back. We have all the body mounts left to do, but that's not what we're doing in this episode. Today, I'm going to show you guys, and we're going to learn together how to build the brackets for the rear bumper that go right here between the rear frame and the bumper. And if you know anything about these, there's a tractor. These things used to have rear bumper shocks, and what I mean by that is you had these brackets, and inside here, I believe how they worked was there was a shock inside this that went into the frame, and for low speed impacts or whatever, they would crush. To try to aid in damage to the passengers of the vehicle, to find those online is pretty pricey, so we're not going to do that. We are just going to build our own, and we're going to kind of use this end of this thing, this old bracket, as a guide. And these two were on our bumper. As you can see, they were obviously cut off, but what I'm thinking is maybe we can zip these off of here and just weld in new. I'm not exactly sure. We do have the correct size pipe. I believe this is 1.5 inches outside diameter. Let's double check before I tell you wrong. Yeah, 1.5 inch outside diameter. Just round tube, and then we have a plate of 1/8 inch steel, and these are actually thicker. I think this is 5/32 on this side of the bracket, and this end of this bracket, I'm not exactly sure. I originally thought that it was 1/8 inch, but I don't think that it is. It's probably the same as this, but we didn't have any of this available. We're going to use 1/8 inch. Should be okay. I think what we're going to do is just lay this out like so, trace around it, and cut out our own out of this plate. And then we'll use this round stock, this round tube here, to get our length. I believe, depending on what G-body model you have, there are different lengths, whether you're using for front or for rear. I kind of test fit that old one on the other side, and the bumper sat about where it's supposed to. I know Motion Raceworks sells these kits and a few others. These are supposed to be spacers for adjustment, and as you can see, they have become heavily corroded and extremely fragile. So, not exactly sure what we're going to do for that portion of this, but to start with, we're just gonna build these. So to start here, we're gonna loosely trace the outside of these to just get our basic shape here. Kind of mark where our holes are. And that'll at least give us a rough shape to cut out. And we're just going to use that edge over there. This bracket's pretty rusty, so our shape's not going to be perfect, but it'll give us a start. So I don't know if you can see that on camera. Maybe, possibly. So we've got that. We'll do our other one right next to it. Whew. Holy smokes, the allergies, I'm telling you what. Believe you me. So we're gonna do the same here. Trace this rough shape. It'll at least, oh, I moved it. At least get us close. Holy cow, how many times are you gonna move this thing while you're tracing it? It'd help if it sat flush. It don't. That looks terrible. Let's wipe that off and try again. Holy cow. Okay, well, change of plans. Not really. I just ground out the middle of this thing so I could get it to sit flat. Make it a little easier to trace. Work smarter, not harder. I think that's what they say. These little welding pencils don't last very long. Wear the tip out of them quick. There, that gives us a good idea. We'll recheck this one. These don't have to be perfect, by the way. They're just a template. All right, good enough. You probably can't see this one because I made it shiny. I can barely see it. Okay, so now that that's done, if I had a black Sharpie down here, that'd make my life easier. I forgot it though. So now we got to cut these out, and then we're gonna have to figure out our placement. I'll use this one since you can see it better. We'll have to figure out our placement of where this is gonna sit in there. And then all we gotta do is figure out our overall length. Look at, you can see inside these where that shock used to sit. Now, the only thing that I'm missing that will be here tomorrow, the bumper bolts on. You can see these 4 slotted holes here. They have a bracket. One of these guys, it's got the bolts in it, so you can just slip that in there and not worry about anything spinning while you're bolting this thing up. I did order a couple of those. They'll be here tomorrow, and we'll actually get the bumper put back on tomorrow night, but I wanted to get these brackets built tonight. So all we gotta do is cut these out and we can continue on. there's our 2 rough shapes. We'll pretty those up a little bit. Throw them on the grinder, you know, round them, make them look nice. So now, what we gotta do is we gotta measure this one and see where in that plate this is welded to. And you know, we'll find that spot. And we've got plenty of adjustability, so if they're not exactly perfect, we should be okay. So that's going to be about 1 7/8 up from the bottom. Let's put a mark there, and then from the side, about 3/4 of an inch. So that'd be there. So one could assume to center it 3/4 of an inch also on this side. Alright, let's clean this up a bit. Let me find some gloves. All right, well, there's our pieces. Cleaned up a little bit. We set this back on, and they're not absolutely perfect, but it doesn't really matter. Remarked our marks. We'll drop her over to this one. Do the same thing. There we go. Now we can move on and get our holes drilled and start working on some of that stuff. Actually, I'm gonna clean the steel up a little bit here, and then we're gonna remark everything. That way, when we go to weld it up, we have all nice and clean steel. All right, it's kind of hard to see in camera, but you can see my marks. Got that one laid out. This one's laid out. Should be good to go. So we'll go ahead and start by drilling our holes. I think I'm just gonna use, if I can remember what drawer I put them in. I'll use the old Christmas tree bit here. And we'll get our top one. I wish I had a center punch, I don't. And then these bottom ones, we'll just find a drill bit that fits that, and we'll drill a couple holes and then clean it up with something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, and now for my next magic trick, let's go through the drill bit set here. This one should be pretty good right here. Unfortunately, I don't have a Dremel down here. I do have one though that we can use to fix these holes. Give her the old NASCAR swap out. Sorry, I'm having a hard time making drilling holes exciting. Some people have that talent. I don't. I do not. I'm not one of those. It's just drilling a hole. There we go. Should be just fine. All right, now we're gonna take this, measure 2 3/4 to center of that tube. So we'll come down to these. Mark that. With plenty of paint, make sure that you use all the paint so that you can really see where you're marking. We'll go ahead and fix that. Okay, so now we know that's going to be the center. Which would land at about something like that. Which looks about right, because if you look at this, it's a little, you can tell it's definitely closer to the nose part. Now measure an overall length of this. I guess that top edge looks like it's pretty straight. The bottom edge you can tell is bent in. So we could take our measurement off of that, but really the way that you'd want to do this is to get your bumper set where you'd like it. Okay, so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to get this bumper as close as I can get. It looks really centered there, and then I'm going to make sure this gap is the same. I'm going to measure it. And then I'm going to measure off of this lens to the edge of the bumper to make sure that it's square on both sides. And then we can go underneath it and take our measurement for how long that bracket needs to be. So let's start up here. It's like about 3/4 of an inch there, and that's assuming that this everything is square on this car. This wasn't quite 3/4 of an inch. That's real close to 3/4 of an inch. And that's right on 3/4 of an inch. So this needs to go down just a tickle more. Okay, that's 3/4 of an inch. Now let's measure 3 1/4, 2 1/2. Did I say that was 3 1/4? Yep, we'll cheat that side in a little bit. It's 3, 2 1/2. This side looks a little close. The other thing you're looking for is how you like the fit. You know what I mean? Do you want it tucked away in? I kind of personally like how that looks. I kind of like it better a little below that body line and flush with the bottom of the quarter panel. To me, that's a better fit. Anyways, I'm gonna fool with this till I get it set right, and then we'll take our measurements for those brackets. Okay, we got 3 1/8 on each side. So let's try to get an idea here. 4 3/4. Don't hit the tranny jack. Don't hit the tranny jack. 4 1/2. 4 1/2. Oops, I just hit the tranny jack. Shit, I think I moved it all. 4 3/4 and 4 1/2. Which is entirely possible that that's square, because putting new rear frame in the back, it's possible that I'm a 1/4 inch off in depth. So I'm gonna write that on these plates. We'll just go 4 3/4, 4 1/2. Way to have everything in frame. Absolutely splendid. Okay, so we got our 2 measurements now. Wrote it on our plates. We'll get those out of the way. Now what we got to do is see how much of these we can cut off to reuse this plate, because I'd like to use these plates. They're still good and solid plates. One of these blades are getting dull. What I might have to do is throw the big blade on this with no guard, unfortunately. Hold the phone, folks. Hold the phone. Alright, well, I wasn't able to knock that out, but I was able to cut around the tube, and we can grind the rest of that flat and just weld our new pipe onto it. Should be okay. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and then we'll see where we're at from there. Alright, there she is. Let's take these over. Actually, we might just put the grinding tip, do a flap attack on here, and we'll grind that flat. And then we can make our overall face-to-face measurement and know how long to cut our tube. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? All right, we now are going to try to see where that puts us. I wish I had a bigger magnet. I thought I bought a great big one, but I do not have it. Got a magnetic level. It's going to be kind of tough though. This plate's not actually flat. That actually looks pretty good, if you want me to be honest with you. That looks really good. I think that'll work for that one. I think what we're gonna do, we're just gonna weld that on. We've got tons of adjustments, so it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be absolutely dead nuts perfect. All right, pretty much got everything set up here. What I am going to do is keep a level on the side of this pipe. I've got this bracket clamped on both sides to hold it flush to the table. And I've got a level on the side. You can see it's kind of not sitting level. So basically I'm gonna level it up and throw a tack on it. And then I'm going to turn the whole thing and level it the other way and tack it and check it, and then we'll weld it up. Hopefully this works. In theory it should. But I'm not going to make any assumptions, because you know what assumptions do. That's assuming this table's even level, you know, but it'll help. It'll help. So now I'll check it the other way. All right, I'm gonna weld her up. All right, she's welded up. Not my best weld, but it'll work. So once that cools down, we can take the thickness of this, which we know is an 1/8 inch. We can take our measurement, pulling off the face of this, come up, subtract an 1/8 inch, zip it, and that bracket should be the correct length. Okay, so now we can pull off that plate, and we wanted 4.5 minus an 8, 4 3/8. So we got that marked. We can go ahead and actually I've got a tube vise on the bottom side of this, so let's flip it over. We can snip this off, and then we can weld our outer plate. This stuff's kind of fun. I'm not super great at it, but I'm learning, you know. And this is all stuff that anybody can do. Just, you know, give her a shot. Why not? It's just metal. Cut it, start it over. If you screw it up, Lord knows, you know, doing that frame was definitely interesting. I can tell you that. It wasn't terrible though, once I got into it. So the trick will be cutting this straight, perfectly straight. And my little hacksaw, she needs a new blade, but that'd be the easiest way to, you know, try to get a straight cut. I also don't know if I mentioned this. I used to be a pipe fitter back in the day, so I've got a decent eyeball. It's not perfect, but we'll at least try to get a start line. I'm going to cut on the outside of our line. If I had a portaband, that would be where the ticket's at. Pretty straight. Not bad at all. Okay, so now that we've got that, we'll grab our 4.5 piece of plate here. It's toasty. Now remember, follow your orientation. The plate goes perpendicular to your bottom plate. But don't look too bad, huh? See, anybody can do this stuff. Just takes a little patience, a little bit of time. We'll be okay. Okay, I don't know if you can see that line, but we made our mark all the way through for center. And then, it's hard to see it from the top. Looking from the top, just make sure your plate is square. This is why we have adjustment, for imperfections. And then from that hole. Eyeball it center. Looks pretty good to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's ready to weld. And that's what we're gonna do. Let's weld it. Can't tell where my hand slipped at all, can you? There she is. Welded up. She's hot. Beautiful. Careful now. Yeah, it looks pretty square to me. All right. All we gotta do is weld up the other one. I'm not gonna record that. You guys have already seen it. Wham bam. Okay, there they are. This one's the 4 3/4. Perfect right to the face. 4 3/4. This one's 4 1/2. Oh, that backside's a little bent. Yep, 4 1/2. They are complete, ready for installation. I gotta hog out these back holes here. We'll do that tomorrow when we get the brackets, the bolts. And then we'll get this bumper mounted up and get the new taillights put in it and get all the lighting hooked up. And probably quick throw this rear suspension back together. I need to get an exhaust hanger that I cut. Look at that water pump leaking. Why is it every car that I put on this lift, the water pump leaks? I gotta get another hanger for here. I cut that one. And then we'll just get one of those flat clamps for that to seal it up. And I might grab a new hanger for here. That one's kind of a pile. Unless it's welded on. Yeah, it can stay how it is. This thing's been patched together 1,000 times. But, you know, anyway, we're gonna wrap for tonight, and we'll see y'all tomorrow night. Well, here we are back at it. Super late already. It is 6:30 p.m. Just got home from a 12.5-hour day at work, and we're gonna try to get this bumper put on. I got these brackets. I'm not super impressed with them at all. They're very thin and chintzy. Probably lead to the bumper falling off the car. As you'll see here, these are a lot sturdier bolts. So we may just replace this one and leave the original factory one on the other side. And just kind of see how it goes. I think I've got 4 good nuts for the other side to use, and we're not using those spacers or anything, so let's grab one of these, see how crappily it fits in there. These nuts I originally thought were supposed to come off and be used on the other side. However, that just leaves a really chintzy stud on the other side, and I don't care for that either. And as you can see, the nuts don't fit through the frame. Yeah, so we're already cooking with a grease fire, and this side, as you can see, is much more robust. And I'll get a light down here. So I suppose what we do, I've got these 4 nuts here. We've got hardware here for this side, which I forgot my Dremel to finish those off. So that's good. And I suppose we should probably fix that quick first. Let me do that, and then we'll mount this thing up. Okay, well, I guess better late than never, or whatever they say. So we'll push that out a little bit, and then we'll bring this up here. Stick a bolt through. Get a lock washer and a nut. We're just going to kind of leave most of this stuff fairly loose for adjustment purposes. And we'll try to get our top one up there, maybe, if we can get to it. Maybe give her the reach around from this side. Don't fall out of there now. Well, you dirty dog. Two-hand operation. I don't have enough hands, or three-hand operation for that matter. Son of a bitch. Come on. Just gotta be kind of smart about it. Okay, let me grab the other side, and we'll try to get that one both kind of loosely put up here. Well, so far, I'm not, there's one of my washers. Oh, I got it. So far, I'm not super impressed at all with these frame horns. And how the ends of them here are welded on, because that twisted I guess that one does line up with a little adjustment, I suppose. They're not very square. And somehow I misplaced one of my new bolts already. That's pretty special. Let me find a couple of nuts to loosely put on there. Just to hold it in place anyway, and then we can go back over and look at the other side. I'm guessing this back end will drop just a little bit when I take it off the tranny jack. So let's kind of look. Let's kind of have a look-see over here. See if I can get a light up here for you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to slot that a little bit more on this one, because this needs to turn that way. So let me slot this one a little bit more, and then we'll revisit this side. All right, we're gonna try to cheat this a little bit here. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it. The weird thing with these aftermarket frame horns is the pattern. Like this side, the two bolts are on the bottom, and the other side, the two bolts are on the top. And it kind of changes the the overall dynamic of how it fits, if that makes any sense. So I probably need washers on the back sides of these, actually, because that one's trying to pull through the actual frame horn. This is either gonna work or it won't. I'm guessing probably not. Just a little bit of whole up project tackery going on here. Nothing you guys haven't seen before. Okay, try to give this a little. Probably not. I was gonna say give it a little shove, but let me lower the jack maybe. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get a ratchet, which oddly enough I had laying on the floor right here. Well, I'm not particularly in love with how low it sits. I don't know. I'm not really sure how these are supposed to. Does that look about right? Where's the front one in relation to the stripes? That doesn't give us any indication at all. It's hard to tell. Well, I guess let's tighten it up a little bit and see what it looks like when I drop the jack off of it. It actually sits fairly level. I just don't like how low it is. I might have to. I think I'm out of adjustment. Let's see. Yeah, see, those are at the top. So that bumper's as high as it can get. It can come down, but definitely don't want it down any lower. Well, I don't rightly know what we should pert near do. Let's tighten it up and see what it looks like after I get it tightened up. Okay, well there it is. I don't know if maybe with all this crap cleaned out of here, it'll look a little better. I also don't really know if that's too low because that tailgate drops. You know, and you don't want it hitting this. And also it may look different with taillights and all that stuff in it. I don't know. Let's put our taillights in. See what it looks like, right? Oh, they're not set in there properly, but what do you think? How's that look? Not bad. I don't know, see, are these supposed to sit out? I feel like these should sit out a little more flush. Now for my next magic trick, I'm gonna clean this crap up here, and then we're gonna really see how it looks. I just hit it with some glass cleaner, was all. Just give her a quick little wipey wipe. If I were a betting man, I think the bumper's probably a little bit low. Just guessing. Which we can always adjust these brackets a little better, notch them out. And now let's wipe down the chrome a little bit. Just give her a little just a little spit shine. So we have a little something to look at anyhow. What do you guys think? Is the bumper too low? Whoa! Good thing I'm quick on the hand. About lost our brand new taillight. It had gone flying into a million pieces. The old Chinese plastic. Here comes the freight train. Never mind, just a semi. There, how about now? What do you think? It doesn't look that bad. That filler panel takes up most of that gap. That's probably about right. What's it look like from the side? It's not bad. I don't hate it. What do you guys think? It's not the best bumper in the world. Definitely could be replaced. That is for sure. But anyway. There she is. Look at that. This car has a bumper on it for the first time in, oh, I don't know, a while, I'd imagine. So, yeah, anyway. Okay, well, hate to end the video technically this way, but mission accomplished. Bumper brackets are made, bumper's back on. Got called into work late again tonight, so here we are. This is what you're gonna get. I'm out of time. I didn't get to the parts store, but I would say it looks pretty good. I will tell you though, watch these aftermarket rear frame tails closely, because the flange on the back of them is different side to side, where the factory one is not. So the reason why we are a little low on the bumper is because obviously this tube is offset in this bracket. Well, I measured it off of this end because thinking this end was going to be on the top, and it's not. So it is kind of, you know, what it is. I'm gonna have to take that back out and cut it and move it up, you know, change the offset to make the bumper where, you know, where I wanted it. But I would say, all things considered, it looks pretty good. So as always, appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, share, all the things. And remember, it's hard to lose when all you do is win. See you in the next one.